Deadpool and Wolverine is directed by Shawn Levy and it stars Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman and Emma Corrin. And in the third Deadpool movie and the next installment in the MCU, Wade Wilson has hung up the Deadpool suit, but when his homeworld is under threat, he must suit up again and team up with a reluctant Wolverine. Now, Deadpool 3 was my most anticipated movie of the year. I was so excited, I love the first two Deadpool films, and it's another entry in the MCU. Of course I'm excited. But it was also the film which I was very scared of seeing. Because I've gone on record saying that if this movie's bad, I'm kind of going to slow down on Marvel content now. I'm not going to be really watching the shows all that much anymore. So this was kind of do or die for me, and kind of for others as well. If you ruin Deadpool, you've kind of lost my respect. Because Deadpool is one of my favourite Marvel characters. But I'm so happy to say that Deadpool and Wolverine is a win for the MCU.
Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go.
Now, I don't think this is the best Deadpool movie. I do think the first one is the best. It's better than 2, though. I do think it has a couple more problems, but we'll get into that later. But the first major positive, the story, the characters. Story's nothing mind-blowing or anything like that. It doesn't really need to be. But it does give a nice, good send-off arc to Deadpool. Deadpool just wants to matter. He just wants to be someone. And, you know, he's kind of had that development a little bit with his girlfriend in the first movie. But with this one, it's more about everyone, not just her. I'd say it was a nice little arc for him to go through and see him, you know, become a hero in a sense to everyone. That was just a really sweet arc for him. In the end, he matters in his own way. And he also matters to his friends, his family, his girlfriend. It was just nice to see him go through that journey. Now, of course, the one thing I was very anxious about was would they undermine the ending of Logan? Because if you don't know, Logan is easily my favourite Marvel film and top 3 favourite films of all time. So when I hear that they're bringing him back, I'm going to be a little bit scared that you're going to undermine that ending. But I'm happy to say that they don't do that. This is a different Wolverine, but we knew that before this movie came out. But still, there was that little part of me saying, oh, don't you dare mess it up. They don't do that, thankfully. They give this version of Wolverine a really good arc. And I like that Hugh Jackman can be really different in the role this time. This isn't the Wolverine we've seen throughout the years. This is a very different one. And I like that he was able to give a different take on the character. His backstory is tragic. He doesn't really have a motivation. It's more of him learning to accept that he is an X-Man and that he can be an X-Man in the end. No matter the bad things that have happened in his life. That was a really good arc for this version of Wolverine. Now, of course, we were all excited to see what cameos were in this film. And don't worry, I'm not going to spoil who's in it or anything. We know some cameos from the trailers. And this is fan service, once again, done correct. There are some cameos that are just there for a little crowd cheering moment. But I'm fine with that as long as it's not like embedded in your brain. It's like consume. As long as it's really fun, I'll take it. And this was fan service done right. And also there are some cameos here that do service the story and what happens to the characters. So that was utilised well. So I was very happy with the cameos and the other bits of fan service. And I'm pretty sure many big Marvel fans will be as well. Overall, the story just made this a really nice ending to the Deadpool trilogy and the Fox Marvel universe as well. This is very much a farewell to that era of Marvel movies, which is really sweet because if you kind of think about it, if it wasn't for these movies, we probably wouldn't have had the MCU and all these massive big superhero films. If it wasn't for Blade and the original X-Men, who knows where we could have been with superhero movies right now. So I like that we're saying a nice goodbye to that era, even though you had some right stinkers. It was just a good time of, you know, exciting superhero movies, even though we can look back on some and say, yeah, they were pretty bad. Another thing that I was really happy with was the humour. Now, I know some people don't like Deadpool's humour. They say, oh, it's just all sex jokes and references and stuff like that. And, of course, if that's not your type of humour, you probably won't get a lot of laughs out of this, and that's perfectly understandable. For me, though, I was laughing a lot. I think this is the funniest Deadpool movie. My whole theatre was laughing along. I was having chuckles and everything. Such a funny movie. And I think this is the most Deadpool movie ever. I know that may sound like a weird compliment, but this is exactly what Deadpool is like. From the opening scene, I was watching it with a big grin on my face, and I was like, that is the most Deadpool opening you could have ever had. And, you know, Deadpool's always been one of these weird characters who travels through time and multiverse and messes around with it. And he does that in this film as well. And so it just really gave a vibe of a Deadpool comic. And that was just really great to me. Now, away from the story and characters, technically the movie is pretty good. The action. This is brilliant action. Finally, some good action once again in the MCU. They seem to be learning that trait now. We need good, stylish action. Yeah, the action's always been great in the Deadpool films. And we got some great stuff here as well. The final battle is just this whole one-shot take. Oh, it was so sick. And the brilliant, like, flashy camera movements. You've seen it in the trailer where Deadpool's putting the bullets in his guns. Such stylish action. I loved it. I will say, though, away from the action, this movie is directed and shot a little bit flat. There are some good shots here, don't get me wrong. And, you know, there's nothing bad about the editing or the way the camera's moving or anything. It's a very competently directed movie. But it, again, just like other MCU movies, it's kind of just a little bit flat and kind of forgettable in my case. But that's fine. It's competently directed. As long as I can see what's going on, there's nothing out of focus. I'm happy. I can accept it. Apart from that, the music. I really like the music. The licensed songs are used very well, especially that opening scene. But even just the original scores I thought were really strong as well. Now, with the complaints I do have about this movie, things are never fully explained, and it leaves a few plot holes in there a little bit. They do a good job of catching people up for those who haven't seen Loki and what happened there. They do well with that. But there's other things that are new to everyone, and it's kind of either just glossed over or not explained well. And after the movie, if you really think about them, they really bug you. So it's kind of one of those movies where you've got to kind of turn your brain off at some parts to fully enjoy the movie. I also think the villain Cassandra Nova was a little bit bad in my opinion. She does have an interesting backstory. It's very reminiscent of the comics. She is very much comic-like. But her motivations just kind of go all over the place throughout the film. One moment she wants this and then she wants to do this. So she was very inconsistent. And you did get the sense that she was a genuine threat to the multiverse and Deadpool and Wolverine. So I really like that. She was at least threatening. And Emma Corrin is great as the character. You can tell she's having an absolute blast in the role. So yeah, she was a fun character even though she was very inconsistent. But apart from those pretty major flaws, I do think this movie was great. Again, with the other performances, I don't think I need to tell you that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are just great as Deadpool and Wolverine. And that they have great chemistry. I don't need to say any more. Everyone else does a great job here as well. Especially the people who cameo in this film. Not going to say anything. But this movie was just so fun. This is a movie meant for Marvel and Deadpool fans. And people who grew up with the Fox X-Men films and the other things in that time. This was just a crowd-pleasing movie. What a way to end the Deadpool trilogy. And if he doesn't come back after this, and this is Ryan Reynolds' last time in the suit, I'm happy. I'm not going to say that we need him back anymore. If they say he's done now, I'm very satisfied with what they've done in this trilogy. What a great film. What a great trilogy. If you love Marvel, if you like the Fox X-Men and other films in that time period, and if you like Deadpool especially, you'll love this film. And if you're trying to get back into the MCU, I think you'll maybe find that it's coming back into its fruition. So hopefully that remains the case. So yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine, so glad it was good. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. And guys, that is it for the end of this review. If you have seen Deadpool and Wolverine, which I'm pretty sure you have, please let me know your thoughts on it. Did you really like it? Did you not like it as much as many people? Let me know. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a good day. I'll see you later.